Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Tacoma Cyclist. I am the Tacoma Cyclist, and with me as always is my trusty sidekick, the Boogeyman. Today, we're going to be looking at SRAM's RED eTAP group set. If you haven't checked out our unboxing video, go ahead and take a look at it now. In that unboxing video, we talk about weights of the actual individual components of the SRAM RED eTAP group set, and of course what you will get in the large box that you get when you order this as a separate component kit. We've put the links for the video for the unboxing in the comments below. Just click that. First things first, we're going to talk a little bit about the function of the SRAM RED eTAP group set. And before we get going too far, I want to warn you that we're not going to do a whole lot of B-roll footage where we show you the SRAM RED group set in action. And there's a few reasons for that. First of all, it's below 30 degrees outside and there's a 20-mile-an-hour headwind. And I don't want to ride in that today. It's pretty freaking cold. But second of all, there's really not a whole lot that a B shot of us just aiming a camera down at the group set while it's shifting gears is going to do for you. It's going to show you the gears shifting. What we are going to do is we're going to put the bike up here in a work stand here in a moment and show you what it looks like to go through and actually use the components from the SRAM RED group set, from the eTAP group set. So, as you've probably seen, if you haven't watched any videos about the eTAP group set, then you may not be aware, but if you have, then you're probably quite well aware that the eTAP group set works a little bit differently than what you're used to seeing in the Shimano group set. Now, the Boogeyman and I have had SRAM RED eTAP here in the shop and on our bikes for up to the past 6 months or so, and we've really gotten an opportunity to put quite a bit of miles on it. Fewer miles for him, but a lot more miles for me. I've put about 2,000 miles on the SRAM RED eTAP group set. So we have a lot of impressions and maybe some tips and tricks we can provide you as well. So perhaps most notable about this is that SRAM has taken a totally different approach to how they have you shift your gears. Instead of you doing all of your shifting on the rear cogs using your right hand and your front cog using your left hand, this does a mixture of both. To go to an easier gear on the rear, you simply use your left hand to shift, and to go to a harder gear on the rear, you use your right hand to shift. It's actually very intuitive. At first, it felt a little weird, but with a little bit of practice, and actually very little practice, maybe 5 minutes of riding or less, it was very intuitive and it just settled in. It just made perfect sense. To shift up and down out of the big and into the little ring up in the front, you simply press both paddles at the same time. Again, at first this seems a little bit maybe counterintuitive or maybe a little bit different than, or drastically different than what you're used to. But the reality is once you get the feeling of it, it's very easy to go to that type of setup. Now, the other interesting thing there is I've switched back and forth between my regular SRAM group set, which is kind of a mixture of force and red. I've got force shifters, but red crankset and rear derailleur, on one of my bikes, and I've had no problems shifting back and forth. The brain, the fingers, they all kind of remember what they're supposed to do. And yeah, maybe every once in a while you just reach for the wrong lever, but then you quickly realize this is not what it's supposed to feel like, so you very quickly adapt. And it just takes mere moments to do it. It doesn't take anything at all. So let's talk about installation of the group set overall. I can tell you that the actual installation of the group set is very easy. In fact, the initial installation I did myself. And I'm not very good at being a bike mechanic. I have a couple guys in town that I trust, and I take my bikes to them. But just for giggles, the Boogeyman and I grabbed our torque wrench and our Allen key set and went to town with us, and really it took us about an hour. And that was being very cautious, probably a little overly cautious, and reading every single step of the directions. In all, very easy, even if you have very little experience doing bike maintenance. This is one of those that you can actually do yourself quite easily, especially if you're getting just a mini group. If you're not sure about installing cranks, which is actually a lot easier than you would think, but you want to figure out how to do your shifters and running the very few cables that you have to run, it's actually pretty straightforward. So don't hesitate to do this yourself. Of course, if you want the best performance out of it, then take it to your local bike shop and they'll help you put it on. If you didn't buy it from there in the first place, of course, if you did buy it from there in the first place, then they'll put it on for you anyway, so just get it done there. It doesn't take very long. So a couple quick tips and tricks here with regards to this group set. First and foremost, this thing actually shifts pretty quickly. There are some people out on the internet that say it doesn't shift quickly enough. And reality is sure, maybe the Campy group sets, the EPS group sets, maybe the Shimano Di2 group sets, maybe they can shift a little faster. But the reality is I have yet to find myself in a situation, I'm sure the Boogeyman can attest to this as well. We have never found ourselves in a situation where we thought, gosh, we wish this thing would shift faster than it's shifting right now. If I want to make a move and I want to make a quick attack, I can do a couple of very quick taps, as demonstrated here, and it very quickly flies up or down the cassette, whichever direction I want to go. As far as shifting on the front ring, everything that I've seen indicates that both the Shimano and the SRAM RED eTAP shift from the little ring to the big ring and the big ring back to the little ring just as quickly as one another. It's that rear selection that people seem to complain about. But again, I think what they're complaining about is, yes, on paper, the SRAM group set shifts a little slower than the Shimano. In reality, if you're shifting any faster than what it is doing for you, then I'm dang impressed. I can't get my mechanical group sets to shift that quickly, and I can get them to shift very quickly. Hammering through 3, 4, 5, 6 gears, it's a momentary press, or you can lightly tap with your finger, and it moves up or down that many gears just very quickly. So speed has not really been an issue for us. As far as the tips and tricks, one of the nice little tricks that I like to be able to do is, as I'm approaching, say I'm coming downhill towards a stoplight, I want to be able to keep myself in as big of a ring or as big of a gear as I possibly can until I get down to that stoplight or stop sign, and then shift at the last possible second. Well, with a mechanical group set, a lot of times you wind up planning out your shifting, where you shift out of your big ring into your little ring, and then maybe work your way up some cogs to the easier side of the gear so you can get going again. With the eTAP group set, you can really do almost all of that at the last possible second. And even if you didn't, and you find yourself at the line and maybe you're 3 or 4 cogs too hard in the back, it's really easy to quickly shift them over, lift the back wheel, pedal through, and then you've got yourself into the correct gear. I've been able to shift a lot later, downshift to an easier gear a lot later coming into stop areas with this group set, which has been very beneficial. In fact, switching back to my mechanical group set over the past couple weeks, I've noticed that I want to try to do the same thing, and then I find myself over-geared at stoplights because I just didn't have time to downshift the way I could on that eTAP group set. Another tip or trick, this one in particular, was something that I consider to be almost a little bit of a competitive advantage. If you are running mechanical versus electric group set, your shifts are going to be very quick, even when you're under load. So if you're maybe in a crit or a road race and you hit a hill that either is maybe unexpected, or you find yourself having to change gears very quickly, as is demonstrated in this video here, you'll find that this group set actually shifts very well under load, very quickly under load, whereas some mechanical group sets, you can really feel the pressure as you're applying force to the shifters. This is not the case. As you're going up hills in this and you need to change gears, you can do it. If you need to drop to the little ring and shift 3 gears at the same time, maybe you encounter a very unexpected hill, again, you can do it very easily. So that's another great advantage here. Like I said, it almost feels like there's a competitive advantage to this that is borderline unfair, but everybody can have it, so it's not like it's truly unfair. It definitely does make a difference, though. And then finally, another tip or a trick here has to do with compound shifting. So within the Shimano realm and within the Campy realm, you can program the system to do, if you go up to your big ring, you can have it drop a couple cogs in the back to make it a more seamless shift. The SRAM at this point is not capable of that. Right now, the SRAM is what it is, and there's no programmability, which is actually one of the things that people complain about that I've seen on the internet. It's true, you really can't do much with regards to programming, although SRAM does provide a little dongle in the box, and I can demonstrate that here in a second. They do provide a dongle that allows you to connect to it wirelessly and change features. They just haven't added any features to the system yet. I'll be really looking forward to what they do add, because I have a feeling that when they do add features, it's probably going to be something rather meaningful. So stay tuned for that. I think we're going to see something cool coming up. They say that you can't. They say that SRAM won't let you do a faster shift in the back because it wears down the battery too quickly. That's perfectly fine. Like I said, I don't think there's any problems with the shifting speed. I think it shifts just fine. But again, you can't really do compound shifting, and you can program Campy to do that. You can program Shimano to do that. So why can't you program the SRAM to do that? Well, the reality is once you get the motion down, it's actually pretty straightforward. So again, since you're engaging both shifters at the same time when you shift from the little ring to the big ring or vice versa, all you have to do at the same time is just simply let go of both, and then quickly use your left or right hand to shift whichever direction you want. And oftentimes you can just simply leave it in place if you're doing that. It shifts within milliseconds, and it does not seem to bother the chain line. It doesn't freak it out. It doesn't cause any drop chains. As a matter of fact, I have yet to have a drop chain on this system since it was installed. I didn't have a lot of drop chains on a mechanical group set, but I would have some from time to time. I've had none on this group set. And that's shifting. I've been really kind of abusing it almost, shifting it when it shouldn't be shifted perhaps sometimes. So, in this case, doing a kind of a quasi-compound shift hasn't really seemed to bother it. If you're shifting up to the big ring and you want to drop a couple at the same time, in the back, press both levers and then let go of your right hand and then just hammer through the couple that you want to shift. And it works just fine. I haven't found myself caught out where I'm in the wrong gear for more than maybe a quarter of a second. So it does move very quickly. So I've already addressed a couple of the minor quibbles that people have with the SRAM RED eTAP group set, and that is, again, the speed of shifting, which we don't consider to be an issue. We shift with this electronic group set just as quickly, if not more quickly, than we could with our mechanical group set, so it's kind of a non-issue. Programming, yes, we'd love to see some features come out from SRAM. They haven't come out yet, but we do anticipate some to come out soon. When? No idea. I haven't really been watching the boards on that. Now, something else that pops up is battery life. Yes, the Shimano group set does have a longer battery life than the SRAM group set, but the reality is that charging the batteries is very easy. Obviously, it comes with a battery charger in the box. Since we have two group sets here, we've got two batteries. These are actually very inexpensive, by the way. So if you need to pick up an extra battery kit, I would advise you to do it. But the reality is there's a very easy way to test the battery, which I'll demonstrate here. You simply press any one of your levers, and while you're pressing your lever, if you're pressing either your left or your right lever, you're going to see in the back derailleur a green light, which indicates a good battery. And if you've got a good battery, you can do just about any ride you want. If you see it blinking red, then that blinking red means that you're going to need to charge it soon. If it's a solid red, you need to get to a charger, and you need to get to a charger fast. Now, like I said, these come in the box. It's a simple little battery that plugs in via micro USB. This is a standard 5-volt micro USB. So the nice thing is you can take one of these in your car. I would actually advise you to do that. If you're going to a race and you don't have one of those in your car and you find out your battery's dead, well, you're in a little bit of trouble. You can swap the front to the back and the back to the front. So if worst comes to worst, if your rear is dead, which is probably the most likely to be dead, pull it up to the front, stay in the big ring, and just suffer for that race. You're just going to have to deal with it. Or stay in the little ring and spin out really fast. But if you have one in your car, within about 20 minutes, you can get enough charge to do just about any race out there. So throw it in your car, plug it in if you need to, and you're going to be fine. The other thing I would advise is to preserve battery life. When you travel with this group set, and you put your bike on top of your car, you put it behind your car on a rack, take the batteries off. There are motion sensors inside, or accelerometers inside the group set, and when you leave it on your car and you drive 100 miles to get to a race, well, guess what? Your bike just thinks it needed to stay on for that 100 miles, so it's been draining that battery that whole time. Take the batteries off. Just keep them in the car, keep them with you, put the covers on them. They're bright red covers, you can't miss them, and it helps you to remember, oh yeah, I gotta do this, otherwise I'm racing this race in a single speed. That won't be fun. So take the batteries off. We have yet to have any problems with battery life. I've gotten to a race where it was blinking red and I thought, oh gosh, I'm gonna be in trouble here. I wound up doing 2 crits in the same day and had no problem. It was still blinking red when I got done. It never even went to solid red. So battery life is just fine. I get about a month to 2 months depending upon how much I'm riding. I've done 4,000 miles, just shy of 4,000 miles this year, so the last half of the year, a little over 2,000 miles. And I've maybe charged it 3 times, maybe. So the reality is you get a lot of use out of these. And if you just are careful and you check your batteries before you go, it doesn't take but a couple seconds. And if you find out, oh gosh, my battery's too low, well, grab the charger, toss it in your car, and by the time you get to the race, your battery will be just fine. So I have experienced 0 issues with battery with this. And then again, speed, let's face it, speed, if you really absolutely have to have it faster than what this group set gives you, well, then look for the Shimano or the Campy. But if you realize that a number on a piece of paper is not reality and it doesn't impact how you're shifting, then this is going to be a great group set for you. So overall, I think you can tell that we really like this group set. The Boogeyman has one, and I have one. We wouldn't have both of them have one if we didn't like it. So yeah, this is a great group set. I can't find anything to fault with it. The minor quibbles that you see out there on the internet are just that. They're minor at best. The shifting is very intuitive. It's very quick to learn. You'll hop on the bike and immediately go, oh, this makes perfect sense. And after the first 5 minutes, I have never accidentally shifted the wrong way. I don't have missed shifts. It just works every single time. All the minor stuff that people complain about, it's a non-issue. This is just a great group set. Now the price is high. Yeah, it's around $1,600 for the mini group, and then when you get up to the full-size group, you get into the $2,500 price range. So yes, it's expensive, but make no mistake, SRAM RED is expensive too. Shimano Dura Ace Di2 is expensive also. Campy is expensive. Super Record EPS is expensive. All of these are very pricey. This is not a cheap group set. I've heard rumors that SRAM is going to be releasing a Force eTAP. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. But the reality is this is a premium group set. It's very lightweight. It's incredibly high performing. It's very easy to install. It's highly intuitive. And the minor quibbles that are out there are just ridiculous and petty. So if you want to save up, get a bike with it on there, go ahead. You won't be upset. You won't be sad. This is a great group set. Highly recommended. Okay, thanks again for stopping by and checking out our review of the SRAM RED eTAP group set. Again, we really love this group set. We couldn't be more happy about it. And this is probably one of the best things we've ever reviewed on this channel. So we're really thrilled to have had the opportunity to do that. We're really thrilled to keep them on our bikes and continue using them for the next race season and having that competitive advantage. If you'd like to keep seeing more content from us, give us a thumbs up or subscribe to the channel. As always, share this with your friends. We really like it when we see that people are watching these videos. So again, thank you very much for stopping by, and see you next time.